Does any of this actually matter? For many years, Dragon Ball fans have always wanted the series to go back to its original roots, in terms of conflict, story, character involvement, but a lot has happened ever since we've abandoned GT and gotten further into Super. But I remember back then when Super wasn't a thing, and all we had to relish on was Z and its iconic moments. Vegeta's sacrifice, Piccolo saving Gohan, Goku's first transformation, Tien holding off Cell, Gohan becoming Super Saiyan 2, and much more. All these moments made the show the memorable masterpiece it is, though it's not just because of those awesome power boosts and Super Saiyan transformations that made us love the show, while admittedly being a huge reason. It was the build up to those moments, the hints and ideas given to us before said events. Vegeta hinted at Goku being the legendary Super Saiyan, gassing him up after he showed up and slapped the whole Ginyu Force with ease. With Gohan, we saw his immense potential from the beginning, ever since Raditz. Super Saiyan 2 was built up for a long time, when he raged and broke Raditz's armor, kicked Nappa like a football, pummeled Frieza in his second form for a short time. All this led up to Gohan finally snapping and unleashing his hidden potential. This was no surprise. It was just an awesome moment that felt like, finally. But as power levels rose and the enemies got stronger, the rest of the cast we grew to love, we also unfortunately got to see them become less and less useful throughout the series. Of course, there were moments like the resurrection of F arc when they fought Frieza's forces, the Tournament of Power, and even the Moro arc, which I will admit in my opinion was peak. Everyone's involvement to me felt important, and the saga actually made everyone seem somewhat meaningful despite the fact they're now leagues behind Goku and Vegeta. But for the most part, Goku and Vegeta have become the stars of the show. You're only now relevant if you can even somewhat keep up with those two. Nobody without a massive training arc or extreme plot device are capable of keeping up at this point. Until Gohan and Piccolo. Like I said, fans have always wanted the cast to become relevant again, especially Gohan. However, I feel like with the way Gohan is written, only Piccolo's power boost makes sense. Now hear me out. Before anyone flips and goes straight to the comments, I understand that right before the Tournament of Power, Gohan admitted that he wanted to train and eventually reach a new form himself. But even despite that, it's due to his character that it still seems unreasonable for this transformation. And I'll discuss Piccolo in a second, but regarding Gohan, even if he's been training the whole time and his beast form isn't just a huge plot device to make him relevant again, he's still the character that loves studying and becoming more knowledgeable in his career as well as bugs. More than the fighter we saw during the Cell arc and even a bit during the Buu saga. He's never had the same passion for fighting like Goku, so for him to continue being on par with his dad, he'd have to somehow gain a higher level of love for training, or at the very least learn to passionately train out of the necessity for his family, which we know by now at this point is on and off with this guy. He keeps falling back to his old habits, and with Super just now reaching the end of Z, here's something to point out. At the end of Z, we see Gohan has once again seemingly fallen off his training, although maybe he hasn't, but he sure doesn't have the looks of someone who's been keeping up with it. Then again, there was Superhero, so I could be wrong, but that doesn't change the fact that Goku trains 24/7, constantly driven to break his limits and reach new heights. So the only way a Gohan who's semi-training in between here and there could stay on a level in which he's relevant in the series would be to get a massive rage boost that makes less and less sense each time. But I hear you saying, Beast Gohan has been built up though. He said it himself within the movie that he's not fallen off his training. And like you've mentioned before, it's been foreshadowed that he'd reach a new form. And sure, but we can't pretend we didn't see the shape he was in within the movie. Even Piccolo mentioned that Gohan doesn't fight much, and said that even Pan was able to sense his ki, whereas Gohan couldn't tell at first due to lack of focusing solely on his training. So does it really make sense for Gohan to all of a sudden reach UI or UE level off of one rage boost? And fun fact by the way, in an interview with Dragon Ball Superheroes movie producer, he admits that Toriyama's original plan was for the movie to only focus on Piccolo. So Beast Gohan wasn't even originally a part of the plan. It was meant to be just a Piccolo movie, which if you ask me, it makes complete sense. And let me explain why. Like I said, Gohan isn't the type of character to stay on his training and continuously push himself to stay relevant. It's inevitable for him to be power creeped again as Goku and antagonists continue to get stronger and stronger. Unless Gohan continues to gain plot devices to push him to unlock new forms, which do we really want? Of course we'd rather him just continue training, which is doubtful. And yeah, he has immense potential, but is it fair narratively for him to put half as much effort into training as Goku and stay near his level? So to me, a Beast Gohan doesn't hold any weight in the grand scheme of things. If things are meant to make sense, then he's bound to be left behind once again. Piccolo on the other hand makes total sense to me. Piccolo has the drive and tenacity to keep up his training and push himself to remain somewhat important. He may not be a Saiyan that can raise his power level after getting mad, but ever since early Dragon Ball Z, he's been the type to find ways via techniques and brains to get the upper hand on his his opponent despite not being quite on their level. Look at the Saiyan Saga with Raditz. Goku and Piccolo were actually rivals, and only Piccolo was the one to come up with the technique that would have given him the upper hand in their next fight had Raditz not shown up. So Piccolo having immense power now finally gives him somewhat of an even playing field, and it's up to him to create new ways to outsmart future antagonists and remain relevant, which he's more than capable of due to his drive for continuous training and growth. Orange Piccolo is actually understandable the more you think on it, even if it might throw you off at first to see Super once again give a character a humongous power boost by simply swapping their colors around, and even if the method Piccolo went about achieving said form was kind of lame. The question I'm asking is though, does it matter? Are Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo going to have any type of point to their existence once we get further and further down the series? Well, it's arguable, as it really depends. Of course, this is a completely subjective matter, so there's no right or wrong answer here. But to me, the only way for this to truly matter is if Goku and Vegeta are out of the picture. I've said this before in one of my older shorts, but imagine a situation where Goku and Vegeta take care of greater threats off-world, and the rest of the cast show their importance through defending Earth from possible threats Goku wouldn't have any time for, much like Android 17 supposedly was said to be doing while everyone else was busy. But anyway, as the manga is currently focusing on adapting the superhero movie, it's going to be its job of making sense of Gohan and Piccolo. It'll have to reasonably explain their motives and purpose for becoming the way they are in the movie. Show us what kind of training could Gohan have possibly been doing to be put on such a crazy level. Hopefully things will wrap up together nicely down the road. But for right now, that's all I have to say for this video. And I thank you guys for watching and listening all the way through to the end. I really appreciate it, and if you like videos like this one, please let me know by either through commenting, liking, or whatever's in your best interest. Consider subscribing if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.